One time, a younger kid was beating up on me. My mother was watching it, and I kept on asking him without hitting him back, "Why are you hitting me, David? How come? Why?" And I remember my mother coming out and saying, "Hit him back. Don't let him hit you like that. Hit him back." But I guess I had the kind of temperament where I didn't mind being hit so much as I really minded not knowing why I was being hit, and I really wanted to understand why people were picking on me, because people picked on me and my brother and sister a lot, and I just didn't understand it. Now, O. Henry didn't look like a bully. He was short and thin. He had dull brown hair. It fell straight across his big, round, horn-rimmed glasses. The features on his face were so small and his freckles were so big and so random, it looked like someone had forgot to finish in the details of a face, like where was the nose, where was the mouth on this guy. You could always see him in a dirty white uniform shirt. It was always tucked half in and half out. His school tie, it was always frayed and food-stained. It was probably inherited from one of his many older brothers. O. Henry had scuffed shoes, and his pants were always ripped and then patched and then ripped and then patched and ripped and then patched at the knee. You knew that he played hard. He played for keeps. Oh, yeah. O. Henry, he was a tough guy. Now, everybody made fun of our last name at school. Dooley equals duty. I mean, it's a natural. And in those days, duty was a cuss word. Yeah, you were some kind of tough and rough character if you could call somebody duty. And the kids called us that all the time. O. Henry wasn't the worst. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't even the meanest. He was just the most relentless. He called us names every day at lunch. He called us names on the way to school and every day on the way home from school. O. Henry lived only a few blocks out of town, and near his house there was an abandoned lot with mounds of dirt and weeds, and there he would wait in ambush. In fall, winter, spring, we would hear his harassing serenade from up top the hill there. "Duty, duty, oh, howdy doody, ha ha ha, 3 duties in a row. Oh, look at that, duty, ooh, what's that smell? It must be the duties." And then he'd hurl dirt clods and sometimes rocks after his words. And we would just run past because we had no friends on our long walk home. Well, in nature and in life, things build up. Nice things build up in their way, like a silver dawn builds up into a gorgeous day. And bad things build up too, like homework you put off, or pus in a wound, or bad pizza in your stomach that turns to sick. And O. Henry's name-calling built up just in that homework wound, stomachache kind of way. And even kids like us who hate to fight, sometimes it happens that we crack, and it happened to us one Christmas vacation. Now, maybe it was because our brother had put up with being hurt and teased the longest, or maybe it was because we were having a good time for once and not a miserable one. There had been 2 feet of perfect sledding, fort-building, snowball-fighting snow, and it had fallen between Christmas and New Year's. It was on vacation, and we had all the snow you could ever dream of. We were sledding in the golf course near our house. On the way to the golf course, my sister and brother and I had found the hood of an old car. We realized its potential at once, and we dragged it all the way to the hill. It was great for sliding. We called it the bat sled because it looked like a bat wing, and you could fit 6 kids in it, and it just flew down the hills. We met a bunch of kids from school who were sledding at the golf course too, and they joined us in our improvised toboggan. The word duty had not passed anyone's lips. Instead, we all sang the Batman theme. Na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, bat sled. We sang it so loud it echoed all the way to New Jersey. We were so happy. Then O. Henry showed up. He swaggered up to our new sled, and he called us a bunch of names. I'm not going to repeat them. And he ordered everyone out of the sled, and no duty on my sled. Got it? He said, pointing to my sister and me. Well, the other kids hopped up and out of the sled. My brother looked down at O. Henry. My brother was tall for his age. O. Henry was short. He said, "It's our sled, O. Henry." "It's our sled, O. Henry." O. Henry mimicked Kevin's words with a sneer. Then he said, "Get the duties out now." "Oh, yeah," said Kevin. "You and who else says so?" Well, O. Henry's eyes became like slits, and his mouth opened and shut like a reptile's, and some of his crooked teeth poked through when he closed his lips in a tight line. "Oh, yeah," said O. Henry. And he jumped across over to my sister and me, and he pushed our heads into the snow. My little sister started to sputter and cry. I struggled free, and I tried to rescue her. "Cut it out," I yelled. But our brother jumped over and pulled O. Henry off of us and set him down with a jolt. "Apologize," said Kevin. "Apologize," said O. Henry. You and what army says so?" My brother just stared, and then he stepped forward and grabbed O. Henry by the front of his jacket and then down by the bottom of his ankles and flipped him over and dunked him head first in a really deep snowbank. For one sweet moment, O. Henry's taunts were silenced, and only his skinny ankles and legs were visible as they flapped and flailed the thin winter air. Kevin reached out and pulled him out of the snow, and O. Henry hung upside down, wriggling like a worm on a hook. Then Kevin lowered him down until he was resting on his head, never letting go of his ankles. The other kids were just like statues, stopped and staring. "Hey, you can't do that," said O. Henry, as he gasped for air and flapped his hands up to his face, trying to get the snow from behind his glasses. "I just did," said Kevin. "I can do it again, too, so apologize." O. Henry said something rude, and Kevin lifted it up again. "Sorry," mumbled O. Henry. "What?" said Kevin, stopping O. Henry just above the snowbank. "Sorry," he mumbled a little louder. "My arms are tired, and I can't hear you," said Kevin, and he was shaking with the strain. O. Henry yelled, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." So Kevin put him down on his head again, and then grabbed the front of his jacket and pulled him up into a standing position. Kevin started to help dust him off, but O. Henry knocked his hand out of the way. "Leave me alone," said O. Henry, looking down at his feet. He pushed against the heavy snow and trudged off the hill. He had a 2-mile walk home, and it was cold. We all watched until O. Henry became like a little dot moving slowly up the distant snow-covered hills. "Come on," said my sister. "My turn in front." We snapped around to our bat sled and took turns flying and singing down those hills until a full moon reflected on the snow. What a day that was. I'd like to tell you that O. Henry never bothered us again, but that would be a fairy tale. Revenge doesn't work that way. He was back to his old tricks as soon as vacation ended, and the name-calling was worse, if anything. O. Henry recruited a whole chorus of kids to back him up. The teasing and the fighting and the bullying got so bad that we finally had to leave that school, and I never saw or heard of O. Henry again. Only now do I realize that O. Henry's skinny ankles were visible because he had no boots. And I realize how cold and lonely that long walk must have been. Now, I'm sorry. I doubt we could have fixed things for O. Henry, but now I think I understand, at least a little bit.